Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Welcome to a special edition of the Fly With Us podcast, where we are bringing you the art of conversation, self love, self care, mental health care and protection, life lessons, love lessons, and everything in between. Today, we're going to talk about the new album from your boy Picket Fence. I'm your girl, Lady Bounce.
And I am Picket Fence. So today's mindfulness minute, I have two short ones for you. First one is, I am not my pain and suffering. I am not my thoughts and behavior. I am not the shape or size of my body parts. I am not my job or position in life. I am not my goals and achievements. I am not how much money I make. I am not the things I own. I am not what I do or what I don't do. I am none of these things, and I am all of these things. That's the first jewel. Second one is, the stars tell their secrets to the flowers, and if we only knew how to look around us, we should not need to look above. But man is the plant of slow growth, and great heat is required to bring out his leaves. Word up.
Word up.
So let's jump into this.
So, how do you feel? How you feeling right now?
Man, I'm feeling good, feeling great. You know, my birthday just passed last Monday. So,
Great.
Growing old, but I'm growing better.
So for your birthday, you gave a gift to the world. I mean, you got a couple of gifts, but you gave us a gift. Let's talk about the gift. What's the gift?
The gift is the new EP, which is called Gleek. It's a 4-track EP. It's part of a greater album that's coming later. But I had been sitting on a lot of songs for a while since I started the process of making the album. And I kind of just wanted to, it's been 2.5, almost 3 years since I released the album. Last album was in 2018, Flight from Chicago, with producer Cudda Mack. And Cudda Mack is the producer on this project also. So I wanted to kind of give the people a taste of what they're going to be getting.
Okay.
And these 4 songs were the first 4 songs that I recorded. And initially they were going to just be the songs that I recorded. I was going to do an EP. The EP originally was going to be called I Spit, because all the titles for the songs are spit references. But when I recorded those joints and I sent them to Cudda Mack, he was like, hold on, I want to send you some more beats. And I think one of the reasons he did that, you would have to holler at him to be sure, but a lot of these beats I've had for a long time, since right before the pandemic. Some of them even before then, right after the last album was out. And I think also he kind of just got motivated by hearing what I had done. And he just, after that, I started recording in, I think around September was the first session when Cooley the Curator opened back up the studio. And he heard those joints. And then it had to be September, because October, November, December, January, February, he sent me a different beat pack every month.
Wow.
And I just took those joints and just started writing to them. As soon as I could get a session, I recorded those joints, and I loved them. I mean, the beats he was sending was just crazy. But they were taking me away from the original 4, of just I Spit, because each beat had its own unique thing that it was saying to me, and I was trying to interpret what the beats were saying.
Wow. So you said that all of the song titles have a spit reference. So in the course of recording this album, you introduced me to a new word, and the word is Gleek. So for the people who don't know what Gleek is, or the art of Gleeking, can you just give us a brief description? Because I had never heard of this before.
Okay, so for a majority time of my schooling, I went to a predominantly white school. In middle school, I was at a school called Esther Dennis, which is in Northridge, and high school too. From middle school to high school, I went to Northridge. And there was a thing that kids would do which was really wild, but they would spit from under their tongues. And it wouldn't be like, it would just be like a spray from under their tongues, almost like a snake spray. And it was called Gleek. And they thought it was, I never did it. I didn't understand how they were doing it, but they thought that was funny and cool. And everybody was trying to learn how to Gleek. I didn't even try to learn because I was just baffled by like, why are you doing this? But I always remember that. Shout out to Chad Florence and Keith Pulaski. Those were two guys that were on my basketball team, and they seemed to love to do this. They thought it was just the new fun thing to do, which was really disgusting.
Well, and as you say that, I was thinking about the album cover. If you haven't seen the album cover for this album, it is on the Fly With Us page. It's also on Picket Fence's page and on Jay Webb's personal page. Got to give a special shout out to Juan Adams.
Definitely.
Of Atomic Arts Traffic. Got to throw that in there. For capturing what you just described in art form so well. So when you look at the album cover, it does look like someone is spitting from under the tongue. So that's pretty dope. Well, shout out to Juan for that. Shout out to the basketball teammates for teaching you something so gross and disgusting.
And big up to Juan, like you said, because when I told him that that all the songs was referencing spitting, he was like, "Yo, that's kind of dope, but it's also kind of disgusting."
Right, it sounds like it.
Yeah.
Okay, so
go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, and the reason I did that is because these 4 songs were motivated off of, and I'm sure Dayton is the only place to do this. Probably every city across the world. You always see that these people like, who's the best, who's the hottest in the city, blah blah blah, yakety smackety, and these people that make these lists are people who really aren't omnipresent in the music scene. They aren't totally aware of history of music in their own areas, and they aren't aware of living legends in their own areas, and they aren't really aware of the culture itself of hip hop. They're just rap guys. They like the young littles and all that. That's all they know about hip hop. And I'm usually really, really humble about my skill level of rapping and my part in Dayton hip hop history. So when I see these lists for the years, I would never mention myself. I always mention who I thought was great. Shout out to all the ones that I always list, like my brother Cooley the Curator. I always put him on a list. Always put my brother Eclipse Period on the list because he has even longevity and hip hop history of Dayton than I do. I always try to mention some young guys like Chill, who was on my album. Chill was also my cousin. His grandmother and my mother are sisters, so he is like a close blood related to me. And I also brought on a new artist that I became familiar with through my job, which is Charlie Cash. And most people don't know about him, so I want to try to make sure I spotlight him on the album. But far as list, I've never put myself on the list. And over the last couple of years, I've been really deep into my spiritual practices. And one thing on the path of spirituality and self-mastery is recognizing your good, your bad, or what we say dark and light. And one of the dark things, learning about dark side, it kind of boosted my ego. We always try to downplay ego. They don't be egotistical. Don't let your ego rule you. And those things are true, but you still have to recognize the ego. And by recognizing it doesn't mean that it controls you. But don't deny whatever is you. Just be aware of it. And ego doing that, ego kind of stepped up yo, you too humble. You the illest, kid. You the illest. You one of the illest. Stop not mentioning your stuff. Stop letting these cats know that you're not the crown bearer. You have a longevity in Gym City hip hop history. And when I started to look at it as a whole, I don't, even I don't get talked about, but I don't see these guys that they talk about in the paper. I don't see them getting radio play on all around the world and having, connections to people all around the world. But I'm able to do that, and college radio and stuff like that. Don't downplay yourself. And that's what Ego was telling me. And it wasn't that Ego was telling me anything malicious. So I just listened to him like, yo, you right. So that's what inspired these first 4 songs, was just like, yo, I'm a rap. I can really rhyme, and I don't have to talk about money, guns, and dope, because I don't like dope. You know what I'm saying? And I don't like guns. But I love to rhyme, and I'm very skilled at it. So, so that's kind of what spawned the songs. And I just want Cash to know that, yo, Pick Fence is the crown bearer. Longevity, consistency, ability, and just flavor. I got flavor, man. Mad flavor.
All right, so shout out to Black Cat who's watching, and Tyrone. And Tyrone said that Ego is a source of power.
Definitely.
And then he said, do your thing. Real talk, bro. You've been that dude.
I appreciate that. And that's the thing about recognize Ego and being humble too. I can appreciate and I feel gratitude for my man Tyrone. I've known a long time to say that. And shout out to Black Cat. He's a dude that's known me since I was a young dude in the hood. We were in a crew together when I was mad like 13, 14 years old. Shout out to Top Choice Posse, Eric Mostello, my big cousin Double D. So that's what I meant when I say longevity. I've been doing this since I was like 13. And of course you have the Negroids. I'm gonna be kind of politically correct. I don't want to curse, and we don't do that on our show. That they only think you are good if they see you on TV. But that's not where hip hop started and originated, and that's not the essence of hip hop. I'm a hip hop dude.
Lives either.
Yeah, I'm a hip hop dude, and especially those people that be like, oh, you too old to still be rapping and stuff. How can you? That's just like saying you too old to be black. Do you outgrow what you really are? Hip hop is I came into being in 1974, right when hip hop got its name. I was conceived in 73, which is recognized as the birth of hip hop. I was conceived around the same month that recognized first hip hop part of the year. Shout out to Cool Herc. August of 73 is around the time that I was conceived. I was born in April of 74. I was born early. So I'm a hip hop dude. I came here for hip hop specifically.
Okay. So you were talking about your skills, and just like any other rapper or musician, sometimes you have to be your own fan. You got to be your own biggest fan. If we think about the greater rappers that we have, we had LL who said he was bad. Nobody can rap quite like he can.
Word up.
So that bravado and that ego, it's a part of it. And when we talk about, on our show about self-care and digging into your strengths and who you are, if you've been that dude, you've been that dude. And you need to let people know that you've been that dude. So, one of the things that I always, liked about you was that you were humble. But I also didn't like it because sitting on the sidelines and being a fan, and not just a fan because of our relationship, but being a fan of real music and real hip hop, I used to always be like, why this dude so humble? Like, why you ain't out here talking trash like the rest of these cats? Like, quit playing yourself. So I'm glad to see this transition that you have made to really be like, yo, I ain't just now it. I've been it. You just late. Welcome to the party. Have a seat. Here's some cookies. So that for me, watching the transition and the transformation of you being just that guy to you being that dude, and saying it with your chest has been amazing to watch. So
Word,
that that's pretty dope. It's pretty incredible.
word up.
I just had to say that. So I need to ask you, what is it about you? What strengths do you think you have that make you so good at what you do?
Um, One is that I totally embody hip hop. I've, what I'm saying, studied and practiced every element of hip hop. Before I started rhyming, I was a b-boy. When I first moved to the hood, I was already a b-boy before I moved into the hood. And when I moved into the hood, I started doing graffiti, tagging buildings, throwing tags up. It's not incredible piece. I'm not an incredible art piece, but that was an evolution of hip hop. So I basically mostly was just throwing my name up. And at the time, it was old school. It was Icy J. And I tried, draw the 3-dimensional square for the ice cube. And then I do the little b-boy face with the glasses and the oblong face. Later, I became a DJ, not a turntablist. I didn't never dabble in the tricks and stuff like that, but I was able and fortunate because of my sister's husband, which was her boyfriend at the time. He would take me to different DJ gigs, and I learned to DJ. And around 6th grade, I started rhyming before I started doing the DJ gigs with him. Around 6th grade, along with tagging, me and my boys, ADT, MC McGee, DJ Walt D, we used to do little rap chants on the back of the school bus. And for our listeners that not used to hear, N-words and stuff like that, one of them was niggas in the back, ho! Niggas in the back, ho! We had a little chant, milk, dust, the body, good. And we're like big Fat Boys fans, so we kind of like followed their rap pattern. So I dabbled and learned all the elements, like I said, from b-boying, MCing, DJing, graffiti, and the two ones that don't get mentioned as much, fashion and knowledge. Fashion, I was really into not necessarily clothes, but I was really into shoes. Yeah. I was big on shoes. If having kids slows that down, but I'm still a shoe fanatic. I love shoes, and that sets off everything for me is shoes. I'm when it comes to clothes, I'm not into the colorful stuff. I like fresh stuff, but I like to keep it basic and let the shoes just blow things out. The shoes and the hats, word up.
Well, Tyrone said you got to do a track called Icy J if you haven't already done it.
No, I haven't.
I guess then we got to go get you some fronts or something, some fake gold, bling. You're going to be Icy J. We got to ice you out.
No, well, see, that's the thing. The Icy J wasn't about blinging. It was just about being cool. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's what made me so humble is I got recognized for being cool. Like, yo, J Webb is a cool dude.
So wait a minute, wait. First of all, Daniel, what you're not going to do is come on this family show with that blasphemy. Talking about these shoes, talking about the first guy to wear the Mitch Mack Cortez.
Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah,
no, I want to burn those pictures.
Man, I used to cop all the Cortez. I used to match them, flip them around. If I got on different colors on my outfit, I would switch the shoes. I had all them joints. I had the blue and white ones, the white on black, black on white, blue on white.
I seen the pictures.
White on blue. No. Man, when Cortez was the joints, I was copping them all.
Yeah, I'm glad I didn't know you back then. Oh, so Tyrone said you got to sit in the tub full of ice cubes and chill with it.
Yeah, that might be an album. Yeah, that might be the cover for the single. Do an NFT or something like that. Really.
Hey, welcome to the show, Cooley, the curator. You need to get the link and just jump on in here while you playing. While you coming to be a spectator in your own show. I don't even understand that. So Daniel said he still got some Cortez because of you.
Word up. Northland Posse, we got it going on.
No, wait. No. No, we're not. No, we're not gonna make that a thing again. We're gonna keep our shoes, the same shoes matching with the outfit. We're not going back to that.
No, I probably wouldn't mismatch the shoes anymore, but you know what I'm saying, if money was unlimited, I still would have probably 150 pair of shoes. But you know, we got a kid that's going to Ohio State next year, so you know, we got to be cautious about the money.
Listen,
for real.
Yeah, I don't even know. I don't know who told us that we was grown and we could have grown kids, you know, to sit up here and be trying to send a kid off to college in the first place. Like, somebody got the game all the way twisted.
Word up.
Although I'm excited. I'm excited for her. I'm excited for us. I'm excited for this time. It's pretty wild. It's pretty wild.
Yeah, definitely.
So we talked about, you know, the album. Well, let's talk about some of the inspiration for some of the tracks. Like, the tracks are all over the place as far as subject matter and everything. So let's get into that real quick. Oh, your boys just joined in. Looky there.
Word up.
Yeah.
So
y'all can hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah,
okay, bet.
So talking about, you know, the process of it, like only one of the beats on the 4 beats was I sent Cudda a suggestion of one of my favorite artists, which is Sun Ra, and that's what the Gleek is, a chop up of Sun Ra. God bless the dead. He's one of my favorite musicians. It's just, I'm like the Sun Ra rap. I say it on the album. I love Sun Ra.
That's very true. That's very true.
Man, so but the other 3 joints on there, how they came about is originally, like last year, close around this time, we have an artist grant thing in our city, and I applied for the artist grant because I wanted to do a movie, a specific movie, and I won't give too many details because even though I didn't receive the grant, I still want to do the movie, so I won't give too much away about it. But the movie was going to be inspired by an artist. Like, all the music was going to be chops of a particular artist, which is, without giving his name away, he's as Cooley called him, a inspiration to the world.
He's the GOAT. He's the GOAT.
He's the GOAT. He's the GOAT.
He's the GOAT.
So when I was reaching out, like, Cooley gave me a beat for that, and Cudda gave me a beat for it, and I got a beat from Stefano, God bless the dead, and but Cudda sent me some tracks that were like, which are the other 3 tracks, was like, yo, you know, this could be like score music for the album, but I wanted all the music to be of the GOAT, from the GOAT, even the score music from the GOAT. But I went back and started listening to these tracks like, yo, this ain't just score music. You can rhyme to these beats. So it was like, I'm writing a verse to these beats. And so I wrote a verse and recorded the verse, and I was like trying to figure out who would match up. And like the one song, which is Goober, another Spit reference, I Cooley was like, yo, you should get Chill on there. He'll sound good on there, which Chill is my cousin. So I sent it to him and he popped on there. And Charlie Cash, me and him, we worked together, and you know, we talk about rap and stuff like that. He's a younger cat. He's probably like, him and Chill are probably the same age, like early 30s, late 20s, early 30s. And you know, he asked me a lot of rap questions, and you know, he let me check out some stuff that he had done, and I was like, yo, I'm gonna put you on some tracks. So, you know, that's what I did. I got him. Both of them also appear on other songs in the album, but I was like, yo, you know, I put him on Spit Cup, because like a lot of people like really, I sent Spit Cup to a couple different people, and they like really didn't catch on to the beat for Spit Cup. They were kind of like, I like the beat, but I don't know if I could rhyme on it. And Chill instantly was like, yeah, I could do something to that. And Charlie Cash was even like, yo, that's not usually the type of stuff I rap to, but I accept the challenge. And, you know, he wrote a real nice verse for it. So that's how that was. And when I did Spit Game, I didn't know who to, you know, choose for. And I was like, yo, and at that point of recording, I was just trying to get mostly the crew, TBR Lodge, the family, to get on joints. And of course, Cooley was like, Brother Steve will sound good on that type of song. And he really did, because I didn't even have a hook for the song. And he blessed the track with a hook and a verse. And it's just, you know, and so far what I'm hearing from people is, besides Gleek, that's the song that they really like, is Spit Gang.
Yeah, that's like the most like traditional song on the project. So I kind of felt like I kind of thought people would gravitate towards that. But of course there's everybody I see that's big enough like Goober and Spit Cup. It seems like that's what like the MCs are gravitating towards.
Right.
The people that either were MCs at one point or they've been in hip hop culture for a long time. You know what I mean? So it's a little something for everybody, man. I think you really covered a lot of bases with this.
Word. Appreciate that.
I think you covered a lot of bases. I think, but between the two of you, you guys make a really great team, and you're able to bring stuff out of him that he wouldn't have thought about, or like just different directions for a song to go, even help him with word choice. And some of his verses are in my Cooley voice real greasy, which I can only imagine come from you guys having such a tight relationship.
You saying I'm the bad influence on the far as the grief song? Is that what you're really trying to get at, Lady Bounce?
No, I'm not saying you're a bad influence. I'm just gonna say that some of the tracks are I can tell they're a little Cooley inspired. They're lots of grease. It's not even vegetable oil, it's straight grease.
Oh yeah.
Well, to ping off what you're saying, like that's why it's so important for me to record with Cooley, because he's able to say well, you should say this first instead of what you said first, and he's able to make sure that the sound is sounding right, and make sure that the verse comes off the way it should come off. And I appreciate it, because I've recorded with a lot of people, and besides Cooley, the only person I've been able to record just like that and lets me be me and keep me where I should be, it's been Stefano, God bless the dead, and Cooley does that. He knows what he's doing, and I trust his word when he says, do this, say this word before you say this word, and or he'll tell me, no, you gotta do it again. You got it in. It's coming. Keep recording.
Yeah, I can attest to that as somebody who has been featured on a couple of Picket Fence albums produced by Cudda the Curator. He definitely is the Debbie Allen of the studio. We might as well start being like, you want fame? Well, fame counts. This is where you start paying. Like, so, and I've seen that in him, that meticulous producer, like, no, do it again. No, you got one more in. I'm like, Cooley, if you make me say this line one more time. But
definitely
that one more time is that time, and that is the time that makes the album. So, I definitely appreciate the thoroughness or the meticulousness of having a producer who is a music fan first. I think that makes a big difference when it comes to producing, that you love music, the art of music, the sound of music, and that does it. So Tyrone said the opening track did it for him, and he said he loves the way your flow was open and the way you swung with the track. And then he said, shout out to Cooley.
Hey, peace to Tyrone, man. Thailand in the house, you know what I mean?
Word up.
The king of the video.
Yeah.
Oh
It's
yeah,
all
the Saturday videos.
Yeah, we gotta link up, man. Me and Ty we've been supposed to do something for years, and we always link up a little bit, but we never really go like full. We never really hit the gas pedal all the way. So it's got to happen.
Word up. Another thing about that I cannot forget to say about the recording process, and not just the songs but the album period, is this is the first time I recorded on a couple occasions and there were a bunch of people there.
Oh,
like
yeah,
the family was there, and I cannot tell you that felt good. Usually I would feel like nervous, like
no, you used to kick people out the studio.
Yeah, because I want to get focused, but it just felt like it increased the vibe having the family there, and what I'm saying, we got drinks, and smoke, and and it's just like everybody just chilling, like, okay, quiet on the set, and bam, so that was really good. And then recording in the new studio setup was really dope.
The sound was superb. Like it definitely sounds real crispy. You wouldn't know that it was not some $10-20 million studio, because the sound is crisp. And
it feels like home.
Yeah, like I've heard albums, that have been recorded in these like state of the art studios, and they sound like trash. So I guess that's back to a testament of having a producer who's a music fan first, and he knows what it's supposed to sound like, and knows how to squeeze a track and get every ounce of blood off the track, and get every ounce of the verse and every inflection for the verse. So that's pretty dope. For me as a fan of music myself, who's not a musician, it's pretty dope to like sit back and just watch the process. Like,
and it also what helps having Cooley there is he's not just a producer, engineer, MC himself, and DJ. And having all those tools helps you to deliver what needs to be delivered.
Yeah. Well, we got to be careful. Like, we don't want to make this guy's head too big, because he did vote against me in the fish off, and so because of that, I got to pull back some of my admiration, and just I got to keep it right here.
Nah, you can't hate the player unless you hate the game first. So don't do that.
Real.
Don't do that.
Real.
Don't do that.
I'm just saying, why we don't want to make his ego too big. We don't want to give him too many shout outs, because again, me and him are not.
Throw him his Sonic rings. He
might get one or two. Yeah.
Nah, and the sound, me and Cudda Mack been talking, because this EP, for those of you who don't know, I'm sure y'all have covered it already, but in case anybody tuning in since you covered it, the EP is just kind of like a teaser. We got so much more coming. And so Cudda Mack and I have been talking about like ways we could even step the sound quality up on the, on the main project. So we it's been, we all got kind of rusty during the pandemic. We wasn't really recording as much because you couldn't really be around each other like that. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so now we back working, and we kind of ironing out the kinks, and the EP sounds dope. I agree, but there's definitely it could definitely improve, and I think we're going to improve upon it.
Oh yeah, I think so. I think that I recorded a lot. I think I got enough recorded, but I think Cudda sent me another track that he wants on there. It's like a joint that I recorded. What's that joint? Before, he wants a part 2 to it, so that's probably the last I'm recording. Then we still got to get verses from people, but other than that, we're gonna take our time and I'm gonna let them do what they do. That's gonna be on them to hopefully he'll be able to come up and let them work their magic on that aspect of it.
Yeah. Me and him gotta get in the studio together for some of the mixing process on this next one.
Yeah.
Well, all three are in the same place at the same time. Yeah, I don't think I'm not gonna be.
Yeah, you're gonna love it.
Nah, I think I'm gonna sit that session out. I'm gonna go and stay at the crib and stay on the porch with the little puppies. I can't hang with the big dogs of music in that regard. So I'm gonna stay in my lane, and it's okay. I'm okay with that.
All right. So one other thing that I definitely have to make sure that I say is that you can go to Bandcamp and listen to the EP, but it's real important that you purchase it. It's only $5, or you could pay more if you like. And the reason I'm saying that is not just to fill my own pocket, is because I'm donating a portion of the proceeds to the Dayton African American Cultural Festival. For the last few years, and I didn't notice myself until earlier this year, that it's been seriously funded compared to other festivals that we have in our city. Some of festivals are getting like 100 stacks to be put on. Some of them getting like 60, and I won't give the number of what the African American Culture Festival is, but it's significantly lower than that. So I want to help out as much as we can. A lot of the people that sit on the board for that are people who are getting up there in age, and they've been asking us, me and Lady Bounce, to help out as much as we can. And I know that that's pretty much a full-time job, that we can't always be there to do what needs to be done, but we want to make sure that we do our part. So, this is my small token to be like, I want to do that. And, we're going to help out in other ways too, but I just want it to be bigger, because I remember when I was a young adult, late teenager, the African American Cultural Festival, which was called the Black Cultural Festival at that time, was really big in the city. Like it was like almost a week long. They had lectures and different things that went on during the week prior to the weekend, and then on the weekend, that's where you were at Island Park, and you had all the vendors and the food and stuff like that. And one thing that I want to make sure is clear too, just like the Hispanic Festival, Celtic Festival, and all the other festivals, it's encouraged that people of all cultures come and check it out, because that's how we grow as people, by actually studying and getting the information about each other so that we can learn from each other and coexist from each other. I mean, because I go to all those other festivals, you know, I love them.
Yeah, I was about to say, one of the best piece of parenting advice I ever got in my life was from you, in that regards. Because I even was like, anytime I'd be at a festival, I would see you there, and I'd be like, man, you know, what makes you go to all these festivals, like, and bring your kids to all these festivals? And you told me, like, I'm not about to raise no dumbass kids. My kids are going to be informed. They're going to be informed on how every different culture that I'm able to expose them to. They're going to know how they get down, and they're going to have admiration and respect for those cultures. And so I salute both of y'all for that, because you know, that anyone who's a parent knows that ain't easy to do. You know, your kids don't necessarily want to do that all the time. They want to go do something else or whatever. So I think it's super important that people do exactly what you just said.
Word up.
So before Cooley has to go, because I know he's in the studio and got studio sessions, I have to ask, who's in your top 5?
Top 5 what? Top 5 what?
Top 5 MCs, local or not local.
Top
National?
5. Let me see. Top 5 MCs locally. I'll give you local, and I'll give you national. So locally, of course, I gotta have, and this is in no particular order, because my order would change so much. There's no point in even putting them in order.
Right.
But definitely, of course, MC Picket Fence, absolutely. Definitely Eclipse Period. Let me think. Oh, Steve Ernest for sure. He in there. Boo Deadly, rest in peace. He was, you know, one of my favorites. I mean, still is. I mean, he still is. He's one of them rare talents that can sing as good as he can rap, and he can do both very, very well at a very high level. So definitely got to put him in there. Force is a monster. I got to give it to Force too. Force is a beast. Mm-hmm. And then what's that? 4? Is that 5? Was that 4? 5? I think that was 5. I guess I'm gonna sit with those 5 for right now. But like I said, that you know, tomorrow you ask me, I might name 5 different people. So
right, it changes for Picket almost every day too.
Yeah, and that's the thing that's so bogus about list making and stuff like that, because there's always going to be somebody that comes along that takes one of those slots, and then you also have to kind of think about, like, who am I currently listening to, who has consistency. So it's always going to be rotating.
Other thing too is this, if you're really a fan, like, you're not, I can't even remember all the MCs I love any given moment. You know what I mean? I could sit here for an hour and write down every MC that comes to mind. And then if you show me that list the next day, I'm going to be like, I can't believe I left such and such off. You know what I mean? Yep. Or like, it's just not, it's, you know, when you're as deep in it as we are, it's like really, it's a really tough question to like really pin down. You know, it would take me weeks to be able to nail everybody down like that, you know?
Okay, so let me ask, maybe this was easier to answer, and this is for both of you. Name one MC you would want to collaborate with, and one producer you'd like to collaborate with. It could be anybody.
Dead or alive?
You go first.
Dead or alive?
Dead or alive.
MC will be MF Doom. Producer? That's tougher with producer, because one, it has transition, and then one is just a dude that I love. I'm gonna go with who's still here at Large Professor.
Okay.
There you go.
The other one would have been Dilla.
Okay.
Okay. I give you that.
Producer, for me, producer would be Quick, DJ Quick, because
Ooh.
I just have so many questions for that dude. Like, and I got questions for all the legends, but like him in particular, like he probably his like production's probably the one I studied the most, and I just got a ton of questions. Plus, he's like a lot of people don't know, but he's like a super high level engineer. Like he's one of the best audio engineers on planet Earth. So like to collab with him would be, I would take full advantage of the opportunity. You know what I mean? Even if the song never came out, I know that I would get out of it everything that you know what I mean, that I would want and more. So, and then MCs. Really, it just popped. It's just in my head, maybe because we just was talking about it. But I would give damn near anything to work with Boo one more time. Me and Boo Deadly made I probably recorded like 10 albums for that guy over the course of our friendship. Wow. And he, before he passed on, of course, and he a lot of times he wouldn't even pay me to mix the songs because he just was doing it for therapy. Like he just wanted to get his thoughts out, and then play him for just like his friends that would come to the house or whatever. You know what I mean? Like he didn't even really care about putting music out like that. It was something that he just, with all the health issues that he dealt with throughout his life, it was just something that he just had to do to like have some sort of a beacon of light. You know what I mean? And so yeah, that'd be the MC. If we can do Dead or Alive, then that's the MC I would pick to work with one more time.
Okay, so we got a comment. Tyrone said, on the bright side, when talking about the list, it could be a source of motivation for up and coming and current MCs. Yeah,
I try to never. Anytime somebody asks me, I try to not shy away from it because you never know who's listening. It might be somebody that isn't. You know, I put like Sean Price on my list before, and I've had people that I've known for years be like, "Who's Sean Price?" You know what I mean? And I can't believe I never have told you about this dude before. But of course, like I say, you know, you got so much music, it's hard to like, you know, really go in depth with everybody on everyone. So yeah, Tyrone brings up a great point. You definitely want to, even if that's why I say the list is fluid. I never know what it's going to be from day to day, but anytime somebody asks me, I'll throw 5 names at you. You know what I mean? Just in case.
Right. You know, as a fan of a lot of, you know, I won't even say local, of non-signed MCs and producers, when I see the list, I always kind of like chuckle to myself because I'd be like, that's your cousin in them, and that's why you put them on the list, you know, because you can tell that they're not actual like music connoisseurs, they're rap fans. And so people who really do music and that are really true to it don't even bother with trying to like rank people and put them on a list in the first place. And when you're talking about national acts, it's easy to kind of put them on a list and kind of rank them because there's no harm, no foul there or whatever. But when it comes to like these local lists, when I see people like getting in like large scale beefs and it's turning into like physical violence, I'm like, wait a minute. Like, to me, your whole list is invalid because that's not the spirit of hip hop. Nothing about the spirit of hip hop and good music, you know, is violent. Yeah, it's braggadocious. I'm better than you, but it stays on wax. Like it doesn't, you know, it never comes on this side. So when I see all that stuff about them lists, I always just laugh and be like, find y'all something to do because you know, this ain't it.
It's like I said too, is that usually people who make these lists or start these list questions are people who only go to Jazz Central. They're not going to all the other spots where hip hop is available to them. Mm-hmm. So, or they're only going to Ohio Chiefs to see people. So they're not frequenting other places, and they're not going to the record store buying other local artists. And they're not even watching local artists. Like, even if you see a local artist video in your feed, most people are not even going to click on it.
Yeah, and you know, that's the age we live in really with anything. Everybody is so quick to have an opinion without it being an informed one. You know what I mean? Right. So you're absolutely right. And also, you know, it just to be like, not to be hypocritical, like the 5 MCs I named on my local list is all people that I work with. You know what I mean? So somebody could, now I feel like I'm well versed in, you know, who's doing what, but somebody could easily point to what I just said and be like, well, you're only naming like your homies, you know what I mean? So
Yeah, true.
So it's that's people get too caught up in the list, like Lady Bounce said. It's just
Yeah.
make your list, move on. It used to bother me if like my crew wasn't on them, but now I'm just like, man, of course we're not on them, because it take a certain, you gotta, like, I don't know, you don't feel what I'm saying because it's not for you, I guess, basically.
Yeah.
So,
And what have I always said too? I always have told them that we're gonna be famous after our time.
Yeah.
We're gonna be famous after our time.
But it's like anything else, when I talk to people about, being involved on this side of hip hop, as a fan and as your wife, then I get the comments like, "Oh, don't nobody want a 40-year-old rapper and he ain't gonna get a deal." And I'm like, who said he wanted one? Like, so like, to have those kind of like conversations, I'd be like, it's asinine and stupid to me. And then I'd be like, this is why I don't talk to you, because you're not even on my level enough to really understand that, like you said in the beginning, to not do music means to not let you be who you are. So if I looked at you tomorrow and was like, oh, you got to put that music aside, then I might as well be telling you to kill yourself. So, for those naysayers who say stuff like that, I always be like, well, who said he wanted a deal? And we get money. We doing what we doing, and what's understood don't need to be said.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And I was watching Drink Champs the other day with Benny the Butcher. He's 37, I think he said, or maybe 36. And he just now has that like, underground cats known about him for a little bit, but not that. I've known the dude for like 4 years or something. Maybe 5 years. Like, he just now is starting to crack the bubble to where, like, a lot of people he's on bigger platforms and stuff now. So it's no age limit. It's that's just some ignorant shit, and it don't affect us. And what we do, we get like, Picket is dope, but like, he's doper now than he was when I first met him. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's nicer now. So, like, long as he not falling off, you know what I mean? And as long as I'm not falling off, and as long as we stay motivated and we want to make the music, then fuck it, make the music.
Man, for real. And rap, hip hop rap is the only genre that tries to age out people.
Yes.
You said Temptations, even though most of them are gone, they're gonna be on tour this year. Country music dudes that have been doing country music since the 60s are still going on tours. And it's like the only genre that, like, no, you're too old to do that, man.
Well, and I think too, it has a lot to play into what you do music for, what it does for you, what it does for those around you, and what it does for you doesn't always have to be monetary, or doesn't always have to be, you go somewhere and you're instantly recognized. Maybe some people don't want that. One of the things, like, I'm not an MF Doom fan by far, but I was a fan of him being able to say, I'm touring, I'm putting out albums, I'm getting money, and nobody knows who I am. Like, that was incredible, because so he was able to have a piece of himself that was to himself. He always stayed true to himself. He was always true to his family, and so he always had that, to the point where even when he passed away, we didn't even know he passed away for like a whole month, because he lived his life as a regular dude, but he was still getting his money. So again, what's understood don't always need to be said out loud. It ain't none of your business.
Facts. What's up, JG? I see JG in the chat.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
came through. Yeah. So we get ready to wrap this up. I gotta say, everybody that joined us today, thanks for coming through. Cooley the curator. One last question: where do you get your inspiration? Where's it come from?
That changes with the day as well. You know what I mean? Like, it's some days it's my inspiration comes from my elevation. You know what I mean? Maybe I'm on a good one. I got a little buzz going or something. Other days my inspiration might just come from family. Other days my inspiration come from my sword getting sharpened by somebody like Picket or Brother Steve, or somebody being in here and me hearing what they're doing and being like, oh, okay, now I didn't even want to do shit, but now I'm about to write. You know what I mean? Like, so it's actually shit that two of the people in the chat right now have been inspirations to me in the past, present, and hopefully the future. So, yes, it's everywhere like air. You know, if you're not inspired, you either are going through something real difficult, and you know, I can't. You know, I hope you see the other side of that and find the inspiration again, or you're just not looking. You know, you're just not paying attention.
Word up. I'm so glad you said that, even though you didn't hear the first part of the show, which was like the mindfulness minute. And I meant to talk about this after I read it, but that's why I chose that. And I'll read it again. The stars tell their secrets to the flowers. And if we only knew how to look around us, we should not need to look above. But man is the plant of slow growth, and his heart is, and it takes great heat required to bring out his leaves. So what that quote is basically saying is just being observant of the things that are around you. And that's perfect the way you wrapped it up, like inspiration changes. I know that I've been real hard body about, especially since the pandemic has slowed up, is making sure that our family has been supportive of each other and showing up for each other and hanging out as much as possible. I mean, I know the pandemic's still going on, but one of the things is if you're in a small group, which is, you know what I'm saying, when I'm talking about our family, the lodge, and going to each other's events, you know what I'm saying, and building every time we can. That's why it was like really dope the times that I recorded, and it was a bunch of people over there, family, you know what I'm saying, and we got drinks and stuff going on, and I'm just hoping that continues for us, because that's been like a real motivation for me lately, is making sure that we build our family up and push each other. And I got a dope hook from a song that's a folk song that made me, when I heard it, I thought the song was so incredible. And Lady Bounce in the mirror was like, what is that? Why do you like this? What is this? But it's just about, I'll just say a few lines without giving away, is that good things are happening for us every day.
Yes.
And I think us being supportive of each other makes it that possible. And another piece of it is, every day I get sunshine, even when the day is a rainy day. And it's going to be times that we down. And as long as we keep lifting each other up, it's going you make that positive outweigh the negative.
Yeah, and I think to that quote that you said, the mindfulness minute quote you gave, it's important to look around you also, because you can't go to the same spot for inspiration all the time, because you're gonna fuck something up for real if you do. If you are relying constantly on your significant other, for example, for inspiration, or your children for inspiration, you're gonna eventually you're gonna wear them down. You know, if you're constantly going to drugs or alcohol or whatever for inspiration, you're gonna eventually wear you down. If you're constantly trying to like rely on any other outside source for inspiration all of the time, it's not going to work. You know, you got to get inspiration from everywhere. You know, you can't just be stuck looking for motivation in one spot.
Word up. And of course, before we get out of here, one more time, make sure you cop the album, 5 or more, whatever you feel, that you can do over 5 would be great. 'Cause like I said, that's going to be going to a bigger cost than myself and my crew self. And now let's get into my favorite part of the show. Doom, 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 doom. Brain science, science, science.
I still laugh every show, even though I know it's coming. All right, so for all of you musicians out there, Cooley, this would be like preaching to the crowd, talking to both of y'all. But 10 reasons why making music is good for your brain. So it turns out mom and dad were right. Those piano lessons you despise and those endless hours in school band practice were truly good for you. From making you smarter, to diminishing the effects of brain aging, to improving emotional stability. It seems that making music has a hand in reconfiguring your brain and enhancing it permanently. And let's be clear, just listening to music doesn't cut it. It's the active work of bringing sounds to life that delivers the biggest benefit. So first of all, it enriches the connections between your left and your right brain. I've said this before on the show, but fun fact, singing or making music, rapping, is the only activity you can do that uses both sides of your brain at the same time. There's no other activity that you can do with your body that uses both sides of your brain at the same time besides making music. That's important. So what it also does, it increases the dopamine. You get the pleasure from making the music. Music makes you high, as the Lost Boy said, which is one of my favorite songs. So music releases that dopamine, releases those endorphins, keeps that brain going. It boosts your executive brain function. The white matter in your brain, as you make music, trains itself to become thicker. The thicker the white matter in your brain, the slower your brain ages.
And that's why I'm hard headed. Okay, all right. That's all this music I'm making. Bet.
Okay, I ain't gonna touch that one. So these brain functions, these increased executive brain functions, also increase your IQ. People who make music tend to be smarter. They tend to be better at taking tests. They are better at retaining information. If you think about an artist who has to perform a show and that artist has 10 albums and they're able to perform songs from all 10 albums, that's because that thickening of the white matter in their brain makes them able to remember all of those songs. Unless your name is Picket and then you never perform the song the same way twice. All right. So it also magnifies your memory. Related to speech and processing, those with musical training are also better at remembering spoken words. A study from Germany recently found that second graders who spent 45 minutes a week learning a musical instrument recall more words recited to them than kids who receive no musical training at all. That's dope. Word up. So we also know that music and speech share common characteristics. One of the first ways that babies express themselves verbally is through singing. Music, singing, talking, increases vocabulary. We often talk about the number of words that a child comes to school knowing and learning and knowing the meaning of. It's much higher when those children are exposed to music at an earlier age. That's important. Music promotes empathy. Musical training doesn't just upgrade your brain's sound processing centers, it also lifts its capacity to detect emotions in sound. That's why a sad song can make you sad, an inspirational happy song can boost your mood, and then there are some songs, if you listen to Picket Fence's dad, Barry White, that make you feel like sexy time is the time. Music slows your brain aging. Your brain gains made from playing an instrument or making music don't wane as you age. Studies show that speech processing and memory benefits extend well into your golden years, even if you stop musical training in your childhood. So that means that even if you trained as a musician from age 1 to 10, when you are 70, those effects are still making your brain pop, which is important. Good to know. Music fosters math and science ability. You think about music, you have to keep time with the beat. There's tempo, there is inflections. That's all math and science, and people don't even realize that. And it bothers me as a teacher that when they go to cut things in school and they cut funding, the first thing they want to cut is the music programs. And they don't realize that those music programs is what makes those kids better on the field. It makes them better with timing. It makes them better in the classroom with processing speed. As somebody who teaches special education, so I teach students that have slow processing speed. One of the first questions I ask parents is, when did you start exposing them to music? And what kind of music did you expose them to? Because it has a lot to do with how their brains process and how fast or slow that they process. So it's good to know. Music improves your motor skills. No doubt about it. Playing a musical instrument. If you think Anderson .Paak, think about how dope his motor skills have to be able to rap and play the drums at the same time.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's real crazy. That's major talent. You think about some of the major musicians of our time, like Prince, who played 27 different instruments and still sang at the same time. And I know he's problematic, but even Kanye West, who's able to make music live on stage and still keep time with the beat, that improves the motor skill. So you're able to do. And if you ever, speaking of which, if you've ever seen Erykah Badu in concert, she is so dope. I didn't realize how dope she was as a musician and a singer until we saw her in concert, and she pulls out this whole beat pad and a mixer.
MPC 2000. Yeah.
I was like, well, I never knew. That's dope. I saw it in videos, but videos can be faked. music videos especially, but to see her in concert do it live, I was like, that's some serious motor skills. That's important. All right, so studies show that people who play music, especially saxophones, it elevates your mental health. Think about how happy you are when you're playing music. When you are in your element, so to speak. When I watch, you, Jay, in the studio, it's such a moment for me that I'm attracted to you anyway, but watching you in your element, I'm like, oh yeah, it's finna go. How much longer? How many more songs you're recording? Because look here.
How could you not be attracted to Mr. Snuggles?
Oh no. But even at a get down, shout out to the TBR Live for the Gym City Get Down. Watching all of you guys on stage in your element is so incredible to see. Like, I love it. I just be like, oh yeah, how much longer? This over at 2? We be home by 2:15. Okay.
And you talk about Cooley being my influence for the greasiness.
Yeah, I was about to say, you sound like somebody, the real greasy one. Sound like Lady Bounce, the real greasy one.
No, I'm saying as a music fan, as a fan of yours especially,
and a fan of grease too.
To watch you in your element is very attractive. It is majorly attractive. Okay, and last but not least, music sharpens your self-esteem. So not surprisingly, mental health gains from musical mastery and maybe the camaraderie of playing music with others transfers into greater feelings of self-worth. In one study, kids who received 3 years of weekly piano lessons scored higher on a measure of self-esteem than kids who got no musical instruction. And another study found that at-risk youth who participated in musical performance groups at school felt less alienated and more successful. So those people who talk about they want to do something for the hood, if you really want to do something for the hood, start a music program. Give the kids something constructive to do musically.
Word up.
Word up.
Word up. So this week our self-care assignment is going to be create a playlist of music that motivates you. Straight and simple. Make a playlist of music that motivates you. Couple other things before we get out here. If you're in the Dayton area, make sure you come to Barrel House Friday night, where Cooley the Curator is going to be spinning that funky music.
Funky Friday. And
Next
what comes after Funky Friday?
7 to 11 p.m.
Yeah, word up, 7 to 11. Here we go. Come out to Barrel House, one of our favorite watering holes, and chill out. Chill, see what the family do when we chilling. Other thing is, the third Friday, Lady Bounce will be playing at the Barrel House, playing some stuff to just keep you grooving, keep you in the pocket. And make sure you follow the TBR Lodge on Facebook, along with the Fly With Us podcast. We got some treats coming for you this year, some real treats. As Lady Bounce mentioned, the Gym City Get Down. Be on the lookout for that.
I like it. All right, well, that's our show. Thanks for everybody who tuned in and turned up. We so appreciate it. Cooley the Curator, thank you for coming through. As always, you're welcome here anytime.
Yeah, I appreciate y'all.
Word up. Right. It's your boy Picket Fence.
And I'm your girl, Lady Bounce.
We out of here.
Peace.